Greetings from Wymack Bible Chapel. Okay, my comfort is Jesus. Political correctness. Brood of vipers, how can you, being evil, speak good things? For out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Matthew 12:34. So obviously Jesus is speaking here to the Pharisees and to those who will tell others what to do while not actually living their life correctly before God themselves. Jesus wasn't politically correct. How comforting to know that God hates hypocrisy. That which turns the stomach of the unsaved also sickens the Creator. It is good to let those who point the wagging finger at the hypocrite know that God will judge hypocrisy. But look at Paul's rebuke to those who judge others and yet play the hypocrite while doing so. And do you think, O man, you who judge those practicing such things and doing the same, that you will escape the sound judgment of God? It is a mystery how we can sometimes take consolation in our own sins, because we see others committing the same sins. It is senseless, because life doesn't work like that. If an officer of the law pulls me over for speeding, the fact that other drivers are also speeding has nothing to do with my transgression. He holds me personally responsible for my law breaking. We therefore need to remind ourselves and others that every person will give an account of themselves and not of someone else to God. Father, this night I think of the mercy of the cross and ask you to shed light on any hypocrisy in me. So Romans 3:23, which we just quoted before, or he wrote it down. Before that, it says, for all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. So we've all sinned and fallen short. And Romans 2, verse 3 says, and do you think, O man, you who judge those practicing such things and doing the same, that you will escape the judgment of God? So we're all sinners. We all fail. So really we need to focus more on encouraging and building up other people and addressing the problems in our own life than focusing on the failures in other people's lives. I've been in management for many years, and I've seen with managers over me and people under me that the way to get people to work for you better, the way to get the best productivity is through encouragement and through affirmation, not through being critical, having a critical spirit. So if someone loves their boss, and that does happen, it's true, I've got a great boss at the moment, you actually want to go the extra mile. There's a saying, give a minute to your boss. So what it's saying is that instead of clocking out or clocking in directly on time, clock in a bit earlier or out a bit earlier, or go that extra mile, do a bit extra, because you appreciate the boss. The boss pays my mortgage, pays my bills, so I appreciate the boss. If you've got a bad boss, someone that works on fear, then your response might be to do the bare minimum. So you're still meeting the letter of the law, you're doing what is required of you, but you're not going any extra further. And the same is with God. If we view God only with fear, then we become legalistic. We have a legalistic attitude towards God. So God requires this, so I will just do those things and then I'll get God's approval. But Jesus talked about doing it in the spirit of love, loving the two commandments he said were the best, or the most important, were loving God with all your heart, mind and soul, and loving your neighbour as yourself. And he says all the other laws flow from that, or are fulfilled in that. If we follow Jesus because we love him, then we serve him because we love him, not out of obligation. So are we serving Jesus out of love? How do we learn to love Jesus more? It's the same with a marriage relationship. The wife can have a husband who has all these strict rules and she has to obey them. But she might be obeying them just because if she doesn't, then the consequences are an unpleasant life. But if the husband loves her as Christ has loved the church, which is a command in the New Testament for husbands and wives, then her response will be to do the things that please him, or that he would like her to do because it makes his life better or the family's life better, out of love and out of a desire to not serve him, but to serve for the sake of love. So we should serve God because we love God, not because we have to serve God or because we're a servant or a slave, but because we want to. It talks about in Exodus about a slave. If a slave comes into a master and the time comes up for the slave to leave, but decides he loves the master and wants to stay, then they go and pierce his ear with an awl, which is interesting about men wearing earrings. But anyway, who are they serving? But the point is that we should serve God because we love him. And the way we love him is we need to understand him more and grow in our knowledge of him, and then we will love him. Most people who don't serve God at the moment, who have rejected God in this life, is because they don't know God. To know God is to love him. Help us to know God more and help us to love God more. That's why we study the Bible. That's why we pray, so we would love God more, so we could serve God more, out of the right reasons. And that's our commission, to go out and to proclaim to others the love of God for them, so they would then understand that and be able to respond and love God as well. Okay, so God bless, and hope that's a help, and we'll catch you next time.